All right. So Hare Krishna. So Hare Krishna. So happy to see you, all of both of you today. And today we are meeting on a very, very auspicious day, Nirjala, Pandava Nirjala Ekadasi. Okay. How's the fasting going on? Okay. So, so today we meet on this auspicious day. Of course, after yesterday is a sad day. Of course, there's so many animals has been slaughtered and all these things. But anyway, we don't have a choice because we are living in Kali Yuga and we have to live among this kind of environment. So today we're going to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. We're going to continue our discussion, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 12, and Text 34, right? So please pardon my voice. I'm having a hoarse voice. I've been having too many programs these past few days, and I've been singing and singing until I lost my voice. Right. So, okay. So let's do our invocation prayer. Okay. In this prayer, we're going to pay our gratitude to Srila Prabhupada and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, to Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, to Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and to also this Jagannath Das Babaji, and the host of all Vaishnava devotees, past, present, and also in the future. So we're going to show our gratitude to them. Without their mercy, it is not possible for us to have this kind of opportunity. Okay. And then after that, in your meditation, kindly offer a beautiful garland to all these great persons, especially Srila Prabhupada. Right? So let's do our invocation prayer. Om Aiknana Timirandeshya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yana Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapidamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Darati Swa Parantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Uttapadakamlam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagarjadam Shahagana Raghunathan Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savaduta Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vidamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimadi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasa Chiristarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimadi Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaye Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vignana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryo Jvala Premadya Sri Rupanuga Bhaktira Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtai Dinatarine Rupanuga Viruddha Pasidanta Davanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtai Vipralambara Sambodhe Padam Bujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Sarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaura Vir Bhava Bhumestum Nidasa Sajana Priya Vaishnava Sarubhama Sri Jagannathaya Te Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyavaccha paditaram pavinibhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Garatise Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavadaram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namustute Chetam Suratau Pangur Mama Manda Matirgati Mat Sarvasva Padam Boja Radha Madana Mohanao Divya Brundaranya Kalpadrumadaha Srimad Ratnagar Singhasanastav Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Deva Prashtali Bisevya Manosmarami Sriman Rasa Rasarambi Vamsivata Tatasita Karshan Venus Vanirgopir Gopinata Yasri Istuna Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneswari Vrishabhanustidevi Pranamami Haripriye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Shri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Narayanam Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadhyasya Yatonvayat Vitarashcharte Swabhijana Swarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaihi Muyyanti Yat Surayaha Tejo vari mridanyata vinimayo yatra trisargo mrsha damna svena sada nirastakvakam satyam param dhimahi dharma projita kaitavatra paramo nirma saranam satam vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tapa triyonmulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kim Va Parair Ishvara Sadhyo Hirdya Varudyatetra Kritibishu Shushubhistakshanat Om Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasvadim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nasta Presu Abhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Okay, so today we are continuing our discussion. Just give me a second. All right. Okay, so we are continuing our discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam on chapter 12. Okay, we are still in we are in Canto 1 and chapter 12. Okay. So today the verse, just recap the few verses before. All right. So of course, here in this verse, okay, the main title is of course the birth of Emperor Parikshit. Okay, Emperor Parikshit is one of the main reason why the Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken. Okay, so in text 30, what we have read is, so his son will become famous in the world and Parikshit as examiner. So we have understood this 2 sessions before. So the word Parikshit means the one who examined, right? Because he was looking for, search for the personality whom he saw before his birth, right? Because he was supposed to be, I mean, Ashwatthama sent Brahmastra to kill him in the womb. And of course, Krishna went and stopped it and saved him. So he was wondering the person that he saw in the womb. So he's been looking for all the while, right? So then after that, another key point here is 32. So King Yudhishthira was considering performing a horse sacrifice, right? This horse sacrifice for what reason? To free from sins incurred in fighting with kinsmen, all right? So this is the topic that we're going to discuss in detail today. What does it mean by incurring sin? And of course, slaughtering of, sacrifice of the horse, all right? So at the same time, he also was anxious to get some wealth because it's very, very expensive to perform such sacrifice, right? So understanding these 30 wishes of the king, his brothers, as advised by infallible Lord Krishna, they collected sufficient riches from the north, left by King Maruta. So last week, we have discussed about King Maruta, who is he, and all this, all right? So today, we're going to discuss on 34. All right. So let's say this verse. Tena. All right. When you see the E, you naturally put the raga. So Tena Sambrutta. Someone's background. Okay. Okay. Tena Sambrutta. Okay, this is R. R. All right. This is something very unique in Sanskrit because the word R is only available in Sanskrit, not in any other Indian languages. All right. So Tena Sambrutta Sambaro. Okay, there's a dash on top, so we pull the raga. When we see O, we also pull the raga. Dharma Putro Yudhishthiraha. Dharma Putro Yudhishthira. What does it mean by Dharma Putro? Because Yudhishthira's father is actually, yes, Yamaraj. All right. Vaji Medai Tribirbito Yagnai Samayajat Daring. Right? Okay, let's try. Tena Sambrita Sambaro Dharma Putro Yudhishthiraha Vajimedaistribirbito Yagnai Samayajat Darim Tena Sambrita Sambaro Dharma Putro Yudhishthiraha Vajimedaistribirbito Yagnai Samayajat Darim. Tena Sambritto Sambaro Dharmaputro Yudhishthiraha Vajimede Tribirbito Yagnai Samayajar Tarim. Right? So, who want to try?
Can I try, Prabhu?
Yes, yes, Prabhu, please.
Tena sambritta sambaro dharmaputra yudhishthiraha Vajimedaistrabhirbhito yasne samayajat darim.
All right, nice.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Next. Karthik Prabhu, you want to try? And Saraswati Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yep.
Tena samvritto sambaro dharmaputro yudhishthiraha vajmedais tribirbhito yajnai samayajattarim.
Very good. Very nice. Wonderful. Okay, next. Saraswati Mataji, you want to try?
Tribe. Din Sambirta Samharo Dharma Putro Yudhishthira Vajmedais Tribir Vito Yajna Samyat Darim.
Samyajat Darim. Okay, nice, nice.
Thank you.
Is it still on? How come I can't see anything? Is it still? Can you see the thing recording? Is it? Oh, okay, okay. See, all right. Now I can see. Oh, it's recording, huh? All right. Okay. All right. So let's look at this verse here. Tena. Tena means with that wealth. All right. Tena, with that wealth. Sambrita, collected. Sambara, ingredient. Dharmaputra, the pious king, Yudhishthiraha. All right. The pious king, Yudhishthiraha. That means the pious king, Yudhishthira, Vaji Medai, by horse sacrifice. Tribihi, 3 times. Vitaha, being greatly afraid after the battle of Kurukshetra. Yagnai, sacrifice. Samayajat, perfectly worshipped. Harim, the personality of Godhead. So the translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pustaputare Srimati Jayapataka Swami Nominee Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayane Gaurakada Damataya Nagaragana Tarini. So let's look at this. By those riches, all right? That means what does it mean by those riches? The riches that actually the king of Maruta left behind. Okay. And the brothers went and collected. And who informed them to collect? Krishna, right? So by those riches, the king could procure the ingredients. Procure means they can get, they can purchase, right? The ingredients for 3 horse sacrifices. Thus, the pious king Yudhishthira, who was very fearful, after the battle of Kurukshetra. Why, we learn later. Please Lord Hari, the personality of Godhead. By those riches, the king could procure the ingredients for 3 horse sacrifices. Thus, the pious king Yudhishthira, who was very fearful after the battle of Kurukshetra, pleased Lord Hari, the personality of Godhead. Right. So now let's look at this, the purport. Okay. So Maharaj Yudhishthira was an ideal and celebrated king of the world. So, ideal and celebrated pious king of the world. All right. So we discussed this, what they call yesterday. What does it mean by king of the world? Okay. So we discussed this. All right. So it's the ideal and celebrated king, a pious king of the world. And still, he was very greatly afraid. He was very greatly afraid after the execution. So that means we can see from here, execution of what? The battle of Kurukshetra. So from here we can understand the battle of Kurukshetra was very, what they call, was a terrible war. Okay, was a terrible war because of the execution, because of the mass killing in the fight. There was a mass killing. roughly 2 million plus people and thousands, hundreds of thousands of millions of, say, hundreds of thousands of horses, elephants, and all these people were killed in that fight. All right. So all of which was done, all of this which is done only to install him in the throne. So what was the war? Why people, they killed each other so terribly? Just to install Yudhishthira on the throne. Right? So Yudhishthira on the throne. So therefore, he took all the responsibility of the sins. So he felt so bad, he took all the responsibility of the sins and all the things that he committed during the warfare. Right? So that was the keywords. So that means he was all responsible. That means he's very responsible. That is what the in yesterday's kings is all about. The Vedic kings is always like that, right? They can be as brave as a lion, and they also can be very soft, right? Because all of them are devotee of Krishna, they naturally have soft heart. Where we understand this, we can also see that in Bhagavad Gita, right? Where Arjuna, why Arjuna was qualified to become the disciple, right, to Krishna, because he had a very soft heart because he was a devotee, right? Okay, okay. Now, so that means all the responsibility for the sins committed in the warfare, to get rid of all these sins. That means to get rid. That means to remove all these things. He wanted to perform 3 sacrifices, all right, in which horses are offered at the altar. Okay, the horses are offered at the altar. So such sacrifice is very costly. Okay, it's very, very costly. Even Maharaj Yudhishthira had to collect necessary heaps of gold. All right. He also need to collect necessary heaps of gold left by Maharaj Marutta and the Brahmanas. Okay, now let's look at this. This is a very interesting part. So now, so that means left by who? Maharaja Marutta and the Brahmana were given the gold. All right. The Brahmanas received the gold. Okay, that means we learned last week that after that great sacrifice, Maharaj Marutta was giving away tons and tons of gold as a charity to all the Brahmanas, right? So now what happened? So they were given gold in charity by King Marutta. So now the learned Brahmana could not take away all the loads of gold. They could not take everything, all right? And the gold given by Maharaj Marutta. So therefore, they left behind the major portion of the gift, right? So they only take what they need, and others they simply left behind. But at the same time, Maharaja Marutta also did not again collect. He did not even collect such heaps of gold given away in charity. That means once the charity is given, he does not take away. All right. He does not collect again the things that he have given away. All right. So besides that, all the golden plates. All right. Now let's look at this. Besides that, all the golden plates, utensils which were used, that means all the things that they used in the sacrifice, were also thrown into the dustbin. Can you imagine? All right. All the things that they have collected, everything simply thrown into the dustbin. And all such heaps of gold remain unclaimed property or for a long time. Right? So till Maharaja Yudhishthira collected them for his own purpose. So Lord Krishna advised his brothers of Maharaj Yudhishthira to collect it. All right. Okay, just give me a second. So then collect them for his own purpose. Lord Krishna advised his brothers of Maharaj Yudhishthira to collect the unclaimed property because it belongs to the king. The more astonishing part, okay, what is the funny part here? The surprising part is that no subject of the state also collected such unclaimed gold, right? So that means we see that so many people are around, but no one touched that gold, all right, for their industrial purpose or anything like that. So that means that the state citizen were completely satisfied with all necessity of life. So this is how the ideal Kshatriya supposed to be. So the ideal Kshatriya is basically as what we will study this as we go on in Srimad Bhagavatam, that they should maintain their piety to the highest level. they should be very pious, and their piety, all right, and they should do a lot of sacrifice, a lot of things for the sake, for the benefit of the subject. Okay, that's why the king is also seen as the next Vishnu. They what they call, they adore the king like how they adore and worship Lord Vishnu, because it is in the hands of the king to deliver the subject from this material condition of life. It is very important. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, if you cannot deliver your subject, if you cannot deliver your dependent, you should not become a king, you should not become a guru, you should not become a king, guru, and you should not even become a father. All right. That means if you cannot deliver, example, in other words, if you have children and you cannot deliver your children, that means what does it mean by delivering your children? That means by giving them a proper training in this bhakti. If you're not going to train up your children, even a man should not even become a father or even a husband. So that's what it takes. So that means here the king is such a pious person that he have created all this welfare, and therefore all the subjects are happily situated in their given job. All right, in their given what they call, in their own dharma. Okay, and therefore, okay, so that means every citizen will completely satisfied with necessity of life, and therefore not inclined to accept unnecessary productive enterprise. So all this unnecessary productive enterprise for what? For sense gratification. So that's the biggest problem in Kali Yuga now. All right, Isha Vashyam Idam Sarvam. In Isha Upanishad, we study that. Isha Vashya Idam Sarvam. That means we should only accept what is given to us according to our own quota. But when we are trying to endeavor for to go for things that which is beyond our quota, that's when we are into sense gratification. Because of this, now you see how the world has gone. There's always a big fight between capitalism and communism. The communism says everything belongs to the state, and the state shares the what they call, the success equally, or they share their what they call, the shares to everybody. That means there's no you can be a great professor or you can be only a road sweeper. All of you will get your rationing equally. That means that much of rice, that much of bread. That is what communism is all about, right? So you see the communism, they have a subject, right? How to, that means they use that. It's like a farmers uplifting, right? Upheaving. So then another part is capitalist. Capitalist means they use their talent and they try to monopolize. So the term monopoly came from capitalism. All right. And they say capitalism is good because you are rewarded according to your effort and your intelligence. And what they call communist says no, it's not that way. It's everything belongs to the state and the state will decide. But the problem is both. But nowadays in Kali Yuga, what happened? So now the communism will have one supreme leader who becomes a dictator, and this communism have no mercy. And the first thing they get rid is religion. Right? They say that every man is restricted in religion. So the first thing is to kick out religion from their district. They always worship the head of the state as their supreme god. At the same time, when you look at that capitalist, the capitalist will go and manipulate, okay, the less fortunate one to make the thing. Okay, example like what happened in Ipoh now, you see, there's so many mountains are being destroyed. There's so many mountains are being destroyed in Ipoh until it become a terrible eyesore. And now, because of that, now you see there's a rain that is not controlled, that's not blocked by the tall mountain. It's like a free flow, and everywhere is flooding. Ipoh is in chaotic situation. Soon it looks like Ipoh going to be the next KL, which is going to be, they have to think about disaster management. It's not only happening in Ipoh, but it's happening anywhere in the world, right? They know that this place, you shouldn't do that, but they're going to simply destroy it. They destroy all the mountains and everything because of greed, sense gratification. All right, I was reading. Let me see. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 12. Krishna, remind me. Canto 12, Chapter 3. If I'm not mistaken. Bhumi Gita. The title is Bhumi Gita. Right? The Mother Earth will be laughing. Will feel hilarious. They say, oh, look at all these kings who are still in the hands of death, but try to monopolize the other country or something like that. Right? So that is how someone's background. Okay. So yeah, so that's the thing. So everyone is trying to conquer, trying to manipulate, and trying to monopolize and capitalize everything. But in those days, right, because the king is so pious, everything was in such in order that people are not inclined to accept unnecessary productive enterprise. For what? For sense gratification. So Maharaj Yudhishthira also requisitioned, all right, to heap of the gold performing sacrifice to please the Supreme Lord. So he also requisitioned, all right, he also taken the heaps of the gold for performing sacrifice. For what? For pleasing the Supreme Lord Hari. All right. So that means he took it not for his own happiness, but to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Otherwise, he had no desire to collect them for a state treasury. That's something we have to look at. If other than this, he has no desire to take this for his own sense gratification. Right? This is such a long puppet. Very interesting puppet. All right. Now, see whether I can reduce the... Okay. Now, one should take lesson from these acts. So one should take lessons, okay, from these acts of Maharaj Yudhishthira. He was afraid of the sins committed, okay, on the battlefield. So that means, in other words, in Kali Yuga, sometimes we become so, what they call, so much in ignorant that we are not even scared of sins. Please mute somebody's background. Okay. So, so we are not even afraid of sins. That is something which is quite funny about Kali Yuga, right? So what is the 4 pillars of sins? These 4 main sins breed lots of other sins. So that's why these 4 major sins, if we can only subdue it, all right, we can only subdue it, we can actually come to a normal condition of life. We are not becoming great by following this, by avoiding these 4 sins, but we are coming to that normal condition of life. So what are those 4 sins? All right, no meat eating. Eating meat is very sinful, right? Because we are killing an animal who has right to live. All right, there are certain people are allowed to do that, like Aborigines. Okay, they are allowed because that's their food chain. All right, for them it's their food chain. But for us, that's not the thing. For civilized people, eating meat, it is something which is really no good. All right, because you see, what a meat is made of. All right, when you look at if it's made from say, like if it's a mammal, it is born through semen. All right, the semen transform into that body, right? And if it's a aquatic animal, you know, it's through perspiration, through eggs, and all these things. That means all these living entities is being brought to this world, and they have their own duration of life. Like for instance, the cow has a duration of 20 years to live. Right? The goat has something around 15 years to live. Right? The chicken has something like, if I'm not mistaken, it's around 5 years to live. That's their duration of life. When a certain living entity takes certain kind of body, all right, they have to finish their quota. So when we are killing them in between, we are actually checking their progress. Okay, what does that mean? Example, if I take a body of a cow, and nowadays they are slaughtering the cow in 2 years. All right. So after 2 years, they kill me. That means my quota in a cow body is 20 years. So I have to be born again and continue. So that means if every 2 years I'm killed, I have to take a birth in the body of a cow 10 times. So actually, we are checking their progress. So that means this material nature it doesn't tolerate, right? So that means that's why all these things are seen. So when we are not allowed to do that, all right? Example, when we are all in the prison, we are required to follow the rules of a prison, right? We are required to follow the rules of a prison. So in that prison house, everything has, I cannot go and say that, okay, when everyone was given a equal ration, the food ration, I cannot see one weak guy and knock his head and take half of his food, all right? When I do that, all right, of course, no one sees that. But if they find out, I'll be even severely punished. So that is what I'm saying. So eating meat is something which we have no right over them. Okay, when we are not a carnivore animal, we are not even an animal. We are not a carnivore. We don't have a teeth like this, right? Even sometimes I say, if we really like to eat meat, if you see a chicken, if you feel like eating chicken, just catch it and eat it on the spot. Not kill it, keep it, preserve it. After a few years, after even they preserve it, they freeze it for what, many weeks, and after that eating. All these actually they are eating disease. That's why we see that those people who eat meat, they think they are getting protein, right? They are getting protein, but they are the one who suffers the most in kidney failure, right? That means even the protein, too much protein is also no good for us, right? That's, if you see so many cases, right? The beef eaters, the mutton eaters, and all this. So when the doctor, first thing they'll tell them to stop eating meat if you want to stay healthy, right? So that's the thing. Meat, that means animal product, meat, including eggs, right? Eggs, we have no rights over them. Okay, that's the thing. And even to produce them is such a ghastly way of producing meat. They are fed and they're killed in a very terrible way. All right. So second is illicit sex. Illicit sex is something, okay, for a man, when you talk about sexual, for a man, that is the highest form of excitement. Right? In Kali Yuga, that's the highest form of excitement. Okay. So sex is something which is so exciting, but we have to regulate that. The sexual activity only has to be performed just to produce children, not whimsically. All right, not whimsically. Okay, I remember reading somewhere, I can't recall. I think what Purana somewhere. Okay. They say bringing up children is the hardest thing for a father, and to conceive and to deliver a child is the most painful thing for a woman. So for a man, it's so painful to bring up a child. For a woman, it's so painful to conceive and deliver the child. You know, when the child is delivered, it's considered like a second birth. The pelvis won't break open. I mean, you just come out of it. Then after that, connect back. Sometimes the thing goes through. Even okay, even the mother sometimes dies while delivering. So, because of this such a painful thing, the nature, Krishna created the sex as the most exciting thing that sometimes they forget the pain that they're going to endure in the future. Right? Because of that psychology, Krishna made that, the nature made that, what they call that relation, sexual relationship is so exciting that they forget the pain. Like for instance, after a mother delivers a child 2 years later, all right, she forgets the pain. All right, when it comes into that. So that's the thing. So it has to be regulated. At the same time, it is also said, right? Illicit sex, that means the sex is outside marriage is totally prohibited. It is totally prohibited. It is not the act of human being. The animals does that. But when we are elevating from human life, from animal life, we come to that human life, when we got the sixth sense, these kind of things which is not allowed. That's why in Vedas says very nicely, they say, other than your wife, every woman is your mother. Right? When we born with 6 types of mother, not the only mother that delivered us. The one mother delivered is the first mother, the nurse that nurtured us, the earth that holds us, the cow that gives us milk, nourish our body and brain cells, right? Then the wife of the guru. And number 6 is, other than your wife, every women are mother. That's why in Tamil, we see any other women, we call Amma. Anybody, any women. Or in this thing, we call Mataji. In Hare Krishna, we call Mataji. What does Mataji means? Mataji means mother, Mata. So that means other than our wife, every women are distinct. But to look at them, to look at any other women in a very lustrous way, in a very what they call, in a very agitated way, is still considered illicit sex, right? That is one of the sins that even Lord Jesus Christ mentioned in the 10 commandments, right? All right, looking at a woman in a lustrous way is considered adultery. I didn't say that. Lord Jesus says that in one of his commandments, in 10 commandments. So that is a second sin. We have to really think. That means, in other words, when we watch this kind of cinema, we watch these women in all the skimpy dress, right? They have to perform all these to attract, and of course they are shameless. And when we are looking at them, when you look at that, we get so excited about it. It's all considered that kind of things. Okay, that's number 2. And what is number 3? Intoxication. Intoxication will stop your brain from functioning normally. People become insane, right? Like, for instance, alcohol consumption. Alcohol consumption doesn't make a man stay insane. Even I have seen, all right, when I was having this, I've seen a man formerly when I was a businessman, all right, I went, there was a person that we all look upon, right? He's such a well-known person, very high-flying doctor who became businessman, very high-flying, very respectable person in the society. But after he started drinking, oh my God, the way he acted, right? He's a Punjabi guy. Even his turban also open and all his hair fell down. Such a great personality. After he drinks, he acts like a barbarian, right? Of course, I also have drank before, right? I know how it feels. We will lose our composure. That's why they said even what they call drunk driving. They are imposing a fine of 10,000 and ban your license. And that also you have to go to that. You have to go to the court. No more policemen punish you. Ban the license for life, and of course, why? Why is that so? Because it's so bad. It doesn't make your brain think straight. All right. But of course, the fearful part, if that particular moment when the death comes and knock our door, that's it. Finish. Right. So consuming alcohol. Then that also like smoking cigarette. All right. It's also proven. It's very bad. Right. It kills. And of course, the another thing is when you talk about tea and coffee, they say, why tea and coffee? Very simple. Tea and coffee contains caffeine. The caffeine agitates your mind. So we are agitated. That's why, in other words, if sometimes they say, I'm feeling so tired and I go and hit one, I go and get one shot of black coffee or something like that. You can feel a kind of boost in yourself, right? And coffee is so addictive. And above all, the most addictive than cigarette is chocolates. All right. So that's intoxication. And number 4, gambling. We have seen no one had a good life as a gambler. All right. Even the worst thing that we have shown in Mahabharata, where they gamble their wife away. Right. When they're gambling, they gamble the wife away. Oh, they say it's not fair. They shouldn't do that. But that is different for Kshatriya. For Kshatriya, gamble is allowed. Because that's part of their bravery. Because it takes so much of guts to gamble. But of course, when we go simply gamble here and there, you see something which is not recommended or involved in a highly speculative venture, all right? Speculation. So these kind of things will make our mind so agitated and we cannot think straight. But now it become a norm. Say sometime when you go out and say, I'm a vegetarian. Oh, okay. Why you're a vegetarian? They look at you like as though you're come from what? As though you came from the moon. Right? Oh, I don't drink. Oh, why you don't drink coffee? Oh, okay, beer, whiskey, okay, la, you don't drink, okay, but coffee, tea also don't drink. Right? Okay. Then come we go try mop you 4 digit. I said, no. Really, yeah. Right? Then, okay, let's go for some. No. So, people will look at us as though we came from Mars. We are Martian. But actually, that is the original position of a man. Right? But nowadays, people are no worries. Even they are promoting. They are promoting very indirectly. Right? I say, I didn't promote that. But this thing, So that means, in other words, when you see King Yudhishthira here, he was so afraid of the sins, right, on the battlefield, and he wanted to satisfy the supreme authority. Why? Why you want to satisfy the supreme authority? Because only the supreme authority can overrule your sin. All right. I was listening to Amarendra Prabhu's class. He was so nice. He was telling when a person start to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and start to dance in ecstasy, read Srimad Bhagavatam, read Bhagavad Gita, and all these things. You know what do you call? What is his name? Chitragupta, Yamaraj secretary. You know what he does? He takes your book and he start to tear them. That's it. This person doesn't suit to be in hell. All right. So how we can do that? Because we are simply satisfying the supreme authority. There was incident where Yamaraj told the servants, Yamaduta. All right, he told the Yamadutas, look here. When you see someone who wears Kantimala, someone who worships Tulasi in the house, someone who chants Hare Krishna, don't dare to go near him. All right. So that was the instruction given by Yamaraj to Yamadutas. Example, when Ajamila was such a sinful person, right? Such a young Brahmana, suddenly he saw that there are two low-class men. A man was enjoying with prostitute in the bush. He went to the bush to collect. He went to that forest to collect some flowers, and he saw these two fellows was performing, and he was like, his mind got so agitated, and after that he gave up his young beautiful wife, gave up his dharma and everything. He went behind the prostitute and started to live a sinful life. At the age of 80, he had a 5-year-old son. At the age of 80, he had a 5-year-old son. And when he had the 5-year-old son, correct? And fortunately, he named the son Narayana. When Yamadutas came to catch him, he just screamed, Narayana, Narayana, save me, Narayana. Actually, he was calling his son Narayana. But because he started to scream Narayana, Narayana, the Supreme Personality sent his Vishnudutta, told Vishnudutta to come down immediately and stop this Yamaduta from taking the soul back to hell, bringing him back to Vaikuntha. So at that time, when they stopped, when they cut that noose, right? They call noose, pasakairi. When they cut that noose, then Yamaraj was thinking, why? This guy is so sinful. Why are you doing this? He said, no. He says he called upon the name of Narayana, he's going to go back. Right? He's going to go back. So he doesn't suit to be a sinner. Another good example, I remember reading in Skanda Purana. Yeah, I think that. So in that Purana, he was telling about the story about a thief who wanted to rob Vishnu temple. All right, a thief wanted to rob Vishnu temple because Vishnu always adore with gold. If you look at Tirupati, they have so much of gold, diamond, rubies, and everything. So when everyone was asleep, the thief came through the back door and jumped in. He went in. He took all that creedom and all his chains and everything. He was taking and running away. Suddenly, the creedom, the helmet fell down and made a big noise. So everybody got up and started to chase him. He just managed to leap and he ran towards the edge of the village and he was taking his breath at night, and suddenly a snake struck him and he died. All right. So in layman term, of course, he first touched Vishnu's things. He was bitten by the snake and he died. And the time Yamadutas came to catch him. But when Yamadutas came and catch him, immediately Vishnu Dutas came. He stopped him. He said, oh my God, what is it again now? Why? He stole in your temple. Stealing Vishnu's things is extremely sinful. He stole your things in your temple, and your Narayana's temple, Lord Vishnu's temple, and now you stop him. No, Lord Vishnu very happy with his service. So what do you mean by that? What do you mean very happy? He was telling in his temple, you know that those days the floor is all granite. Those days, the ancient temples, they all have granite floor. In that granite, there was the edge of the granite is broken and is sharp. So whenever people come and take darshan, the devotees come and take darshan from Vishnu, the Lord Vishnu will be always worried. He was just looking at the feet. He says, hope that no one get hurts, no one get cut from that broken granite. But this guy, when this thief jumped through the back door, he came through the mud, and using the mud, through the mud of his leg, he closed that sharp edge, and Vishnu is very satisfied. Therefore, he has to come back to Vaikuntha. So, in other words, whether we are serving directly or indirectly, our main aim is only to satisfy the supreme authority. When we are satisfied the supreme authority, we are immune. So that means, in others, you may ask, oh, if that's the case, what, devotee don't die? Yes, devotee also dies. No, everyone have to leave this body. But the process of death is different. It's just like a cat who carries the kitten and carries the mouse. It's two different things. When the cat carries the mouse is a death sentence for the mouse. But when the cat carries the kitten, it is something very, what they call, pleasurable to the kittens. All right? Okay, anyway. This indicates that unintentional sins are also committed. This indicates what? Unintentional sins are also committed in our daily occupational discharge of duty. All right? In our daily occupational discharge of duties. All right? Of course, we are doing. Sometimes we're driving, suddenly one dog passes by, we hit the dog and the dog dies. Right? And sometimes when we eat, sometimes we go, a lot of things can happen. Right? And to counteract even that unintentional crime, all these crimes are unintentional. Right? You kill the cockroach, you spray, you call that the insect repellent guys to come and clean up your house. Of course, a lot of cockroaches, a lot of things. All these are unintentional. So even though that to counteract that, one must perform sacrifice, as they are recommended in where? In the revealed scripture. All right? It is not something that is imagination. Suddenly one guy come and tell, you take this pavaka and dig the pavaka inside, the bitter gourd. You dig the thing and put some red things and go light up a light. Everything will be gone. All these things never heard in this Shastra. I mean, I have not heard about it. But that became a big sensation in Ipoh. There's a temple who always recommend you take this bitter gourd, pusnika, right? Winter melon. You dig a hole, put the lamp inside and offer, all your sins will be removed. No, all that are imagination. We have to be very careful who we are taking reference from. We have to take reference from this revealed scripture, not simply imagination or mental concoction. We have to be very careful. So the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, what he says, Yaknartat karmano nyatra loka yam karma bandhana. What he says, that one must perform sacrifices recommended in the scripture, in order to get rid of the commitment of all unauthorized work or all kind of sin, even unintentional crimes, which we opt to commit. We have to be very careful. By doing so, one shall be freed from all kinds of sins. All right? So when you talk about sins and all this, we have two types. One is Kutta and another one is Prarabdha. Prarabdha karma, Kutta karma. Prarabdha karma is something that we have accumulated in our previous birth. In the many births that we have taken, that's called Prarabdha karma, the previous sins. Second is Kutta karma. Kutta means that one that we have accumulated in this current birth. So, what we need to do when we start to chant Hare Krishna, when we start to read Bhagavatam, when we're doing it very religiously, very carefully, with full meditation, not simply Hare Krishna, no, just with full attention, at least 2 hours a day, right? Read Bhagavatam, read Bhagavad Gita, and distribute them. By doing that, all that prarabdha karma that we have been accumulated for millions of births is nullified at once. It is just like a mountain of cotton is burnt to ash. Right? All our sins will turn into cotton, and just with little spark, the entire cotton will be burned to ash. At the same time, the Kutta karma that we have accumulated in this current birth, how we can do? By daily reciting Srimad Bhagavad Gita and also to distribute them. The current is thing, because this is how all the thing, because we are on our daily life, we are always pleasing Lord Krishna. When we go on pleasing Lord Krishna on a daily basis, whatever things that we perform, all will be nullified. Right? Of course, this is to encourage you to practice this bhakti. But after you start practicing of this bhakti, you are not even bothered about all karma, because this kind of bhakti is so sweet and so pleasurable that you're not bothered about anything else. And those who do not do so, what will happen? But work for self-interest, who are selfish or sense gratification, have to undergo all tribulation. It is not all suffering, Prabhupada mentioned here. Tribulation is worse than that. It's just like you're sitting in a, just imagine you put yourself into a washing machine. The thing that goes around, tribulation. Like that. You can't even think. You can't even try to save. You are choking, you are get knocked, you are get heat, right? Tribulation accrued from committed sins. Therefore, the main purpose of performing sacrifice is for what? We must always remember. The main purpose of sacrificing, okay, is to satisfy the Supreme Lord Hari. Nothing else. The process of performing sacrifice may be different in terms of different times. The process can be different in terms of different times, place, and person. But the aim is such sacrifice is one and the same. But the aim is the same. But the aim is same. Okay, example, in Satya Yuga, the first Yuga, people sacrifice by performing great meditation. They sit in one place, they meditate until, for millions of years to achieve perfection. In Satya, Dwapara Yuga, Treta Yuga, they achieve perfection by big sacrifice, big fire sacrifice, right? In in Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, they do that fire sacrifice. In Dwapara Yuga, that means the Yuga just before now, they perform big temple worship, big worship. So they come and sacrifice their wealth. The kings, they come and give their wealth and all the things to offer to the Lord. But in Kali Yuga, the only sacrifice is Harinama Sankirtana, Harinama Yagya. So only sacrifice that we can perform in this Kali Yuga is chanting the holy name. But now what Prabhupada says, but the aim is all the same. All right, the aim is same at all times and in all circumstances. So that means what is that? Satisfaction of the Supreme Lord Hari. That's it. That is the way of pious life, and that is the way to peace and prosperity. This is the way to peace and prosperity in the world at large. So Maharaj Yudhishthira did all this as ideal pious king in the world. If Maharaj Yudhishthira is a sinner in his daily discharge of duties in royal administration or state affairs, wherein killing of men and animals is recognized art, then we can just imagine the amount of sins committed consciously or unconsciously by untrained population of the Kali Yuga, who have no way to perform sacrifice to please Supreme Lord. The Bhagavatam says, therefore, that the prime duty of a human being is to satisfy the Supreme Lord by performance of one's occupational duty. Let any man of any place or community, caste or creed, okay, that means let any man, right? Doesn't matter, any community or caste or creed. Doesn't matter what caste you come from, whether from a very high caste or maybe from a very low caste. Doesn't matter. Be engaged in any sort of occupational duty. They have to do some kind of occupational duty. But he must agree to perform sacrifice as recommended in the scripture for the particular place, time, and person. So in the Vedic literature, it is recommended that in Kali Yuga, people engage in glorifying the Lord by chanting the holy name. Kirtanan eva Krishnasya mukta sangha param vrajet. So that means in people in Kali Yuga, right? In Kali Yuga, what they do? They engage in glorifying the Lord by chanting the holy name. It's the most simplest way. All right, Kirtanan eva Krishnasya mukta sangha param vrajet. That means how? How we should chant? All right, now there's another point that we have to really look into it. That means without offense. Yes, I'm chanting, yes, but the real sacrifice comes when you're doing it without offense. So what is that offenses? There are 10 types of offenses on chanting of the holy name. All right. All right. So there are 10 types of chanting. Okay. So 10 types of offense in chanting of the holy name. So that is very important that we should look into it. Right. So of course, for a beginner, of course, there is some some what they call, what is the word? Some discounts are given, right? But of course, we have to go through it. We have to improve our chanting until we come to the level of chanting without offense. So what are the 10 offenses? We must all understand this. So the first offense is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their life for propagating the name of the Lord. So to blaspheme devotees, that means to criticize devotee, it is one of the first offense that Krishna can never tolerate. Right? Because we must understand. Okay, let me put in this way. We are all suffering and struggling in what they call in an ocean of repeated cycle, repeated birth and death. We are all struggling in the ocean. We are drowning, and suddenly we see one big ship comes, and the ship, what they call, and the person save you from this drowning material existence. Right? He have committed his life to save others by propagating this Krishna consciousness, by chanting the holy name. But once that person saves you, once he take you out, then once you turn back and you offend him and you criticize him, you make this thing, that's something that Krishna can never tolerate. So we must be always careful. Right? So that's the first sacrifice. Now, this sacrifice is the sacrifice of being tolerant. All right? Of course, sometimes when we have mind, intelligence, ego, the three subtle elements will never allow you to tolerate all these things. Sometimes it's fair. But we have to sacrifice that kind of ego that has been triggered by the mind through the supply of knowledge, through that intelligence. We have to be very careful. So that's the first sacrifice. That means not to criticize the devotees. Number two, to consider the names of devas like Shiva and Brahma to be equal. All right, like last time, I remember when I was in a Divine Life Society, there'll be one Patanjali, there's one song, what they sing. They'll sing all the song in between Hare Rama will come. So that means they start to say that Om Namo Bhagavate Vasu, Om Gam Ganapade Namaha, what Shiva's Om Namah Shivaya. All these mantras are same. That is a second offense. So so where's the sacrifice here? So now how are you going to understand that? By sacrificing your time, by studying the Shastra, to understand the standing of Lord Vishnu. Right? Where does he stand? Who is Krishna? And from Krishna came Balaram, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, and from there come Narayana. Narayana come to Garbo, what they call Garbo Dakshay Vishnu, Shiro Dakshay Vishnu. Who are they? And all these things to read. All right. So this is the second offense that we should always avoid. Never generalize everything. The biggest problem in this world when they start to generalize things, even in parenting. When you start to see your elder child study so well and your second child don't study, you cannot say, oh, look at your elder one is doing well. Why can't you do that? Generalizing is the biggest mistake in this world when people start to generalize things. Similarly, we also cannot generalize the mantra and the personality. And to disobey the orders of the spiritual master, right? Number 4, to blaspheme the Vedic scripture and the scripture in pursuance to the Vedic version. Things that, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, all imagination. All right, that's an offense. To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. All right? Because Harinam, holy name, is life, is a life. You cannot cheat holy name, you cannot this thing, right? So that's okay. Number 6, to give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord. Like sometimes people come and give some interpretation of the holy name, their imagination. They simply whack all that offense. Okay. Number 8, to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna is one of the auspicious ritualistic activity which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activity, karma kanda. Oh, that means I want money, I chant Hare Krishna so that I will be I want to achieve some success, I'm chanting. No, that's offense. Number 9, to instruct the faithless person about the glories of the holy name. Number 10, to not to have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and so maintain material attachment. So that means not to have full faith. So all these things are basic. Of course, for us to evolve into that, of course, takes time. All right. But now we just start chanting. All right. So when we start chanting and all this, okay, we are already on the way. And of course, Krishna as a Chaitya Guru in the heart will teach you how you can do it without offense. But if you are a regular devotee, you have to think the first offense is the most grievous offense, that only that Vaishnava have to come and forgive you. Others can be atoned, but only the first one, Krishna can't even tolerate offending a devotee. Doesn't matter how he or whatever, just tolerate them. So by doing so, one can be freed from all sins and thus attain the highest perfection of life by returning home back to Godhead. So that means going back home back to Godhead is the highest perfection. We have already discussed discussed this more than once in great literature in different places, especially in the introduction portion. Okay, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and still we are repeating the same with a view of bringing about peace and prosperity in the society. The Lord has declared openly. The Lord has declared openly. Okay, so what else do we need? Right? We can say that person say this. Okay, this is not a place where no man is perfect. Whatever we can argue. But here, when you say the Lord has declared openly, He have declared openly in Bhagavad Gita, how He becomes pleased. Sorry, how He becomes pleased. All right. He says how you can please Him. He has declared it boldly and openly in Bhagavad Gita with us. And the same process is practically demonstrated in the life of preaching of Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya, who is the same incarnation of Krishna, he came and showed to us, demonstrated how you can achieve that. The perfect process of performing yagna, okay, the perfect process of performing yagna or sacrifice. In other words, we understand, yagna means sacrifice, is to please the Supreme Lord Hari, the personality of God, who gets us free from all misery of existence. Is to how? Follow the ways of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the dark age, okay? Is to follow Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this dark age of quarrel and dissension. So we, in the Hare Krishna movement, we are all following the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya. Maharaj Yudhishthira had to collect heaps of gold to secure paraphernalia for the horse sacrifice, yagna, in days of sufficiency. So we can hardly think of such performance of yagna. So we can hardly think of such performance of yagna in these days. Why? All right, now we can say, oh, that means slaughtering cow, slaughtering goat is okay. Horse. No. In these days, why? In these days, why? It's insufficiency and complete scarcity of gold. Right? First thing, insufficiency and complete scarcity of gold. At the present moment, we have heaps of papers. We have heaps of papers and promises. All right? We have heap of papers and promises. What does it mean, these promises? When you take your currency note. In your currency note, there's a word. I promise the bearer to pay the sum of so and so. Have you seen that? I believe you all have seen that, but now I don't see in current Malaysia ringgit. But I think, remember last time they says, I promise to pay the sum of 50 ringgit to the bearer. So that means it's a heap of paper and promises of they are being converted into gold by economic development of modern civilization. All right? So that means people who have gold now all turn into papers, right? Money. And still there is no possibility of spending riches like Maharaj Yudhishthira. Even though we cannot spend like how Maharaj Yudhishthira did, either individually or collective or by state patronization. Just suitable, therefore, for the age is that method recommended by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in terms of Sastra. Such a method requires no expenditure at all. Such method don't require an expenditure at all. we do not need to spend and yet can award more benefit than other expensive method of yagna performance, right? So it is not expensive at all. It's simply to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's it. And you're doing the highest form of sacrifice. All right, now let's look at this. The horse sacrifice, yagna or cow sacrifice. The horse sacrifice or cow sacrifice performed in the Vedic regulation. Okay, now I want to highlight this. Now look at this. Perform in the Vedic regulation should not be misunderstood. This is very important. The horse sacrifice or the cow sacrifice, go meda yagya. Then Ashwamedha, go meda. Ashwamedha means Ashwa means horse sacrifice. Go meda yagya means cow sacrifice. Okay, in the Vedic regulation. Okay, in the Vedic regulation shouldn't be misunderstood as a process of killing animal. Okay, it should not be misunderstood. Okay, we should not be misunderstand that as a this thing. Okay, on the contrary, animals are offered in the yagna. Okay, that means what happened in those days when they do this kind of sacrifice, the animal that offered in the yagya, in the fire, are rejuvenated into a new span of life. All right. So when they slaughter the cow or goat, I mean what they call the horse, when they take the meat and offer to the yagya, when the spark of the fire touches the meat, it immediately create a rejuvenation. Just give me a second. All right. So that means when the spark touches the meat, it immediately rejuvenates to a new span of life. That means the cow and the goat, I mean the cow and the horse will immediately get a new span of life by the transcendental power of chanting the Vedic hymns. The power of chanting the Vedic hymns is which if properly chanted, right, are different from what is understood by the common layman. So it's something that what is misunderstood by the common layman. All right. The Veda mantra are all practical. The Veda mantras are all practical. And the proof is rejuvenation of the sacrificed animal. Right? For example, when the animal have this thing, when they offer, they immediately go to the next level of India. Following go to the next level of life, the rejuvenation. All right. Maybe they have to suffer in the cow's body for what, 20 years. All right. Once the meat touches the fire, immediately gets a next body. Even they get a body of a human. That's the power. For that reason, they do that. Not to enjoy the meat. Right? There's no possibility of such there's no possibility of such methodical chanting of the Vedic hymns in the so-called Brahmanas or priests of the present age. So in this current present age, there's no way, right? The so-called Brahmanas or the priests can do such chanting. The untrained descendant of the twice-born families. That means who's that? Untrained descendant. That means the twice-born means the one who have accepted. See, for instance, now I born through my mother. And now I've accepted initiation, right? And I've accepted this Brahmanical threat. So that means I now born into a new person, right? That's why they call twice born. The first born is through mother. Second is through our spiritual master. So the spiritual master becomes our father and the Vedas becomes our mother. So that means now he says the untrained, imagine if my son is not trained, okay, are no more like their forefathers. They are no more like their forefathers. They are counted amongst the Sudras. So that means, in other words, they are counted. Prabhupada is telling very clearly, counted amongst the Shudras. Right? Or once born men, Shudras. In other words, here we can understand the Sanatana Dharma that Prabhupada is establishing. it doesn't matter from where and how or which caste or creed that you're born from. You can be the very lowest and you can be even the highest. One, you have accepted a guru, you have a guru have given you initiation, you are the topmost. But at the same time, all right, the Brahmanas for the sons, right, the sons of Brahmanas, when they don't practice this Vedic way of life and they go into this game, they are known as Shudras. They are no longer Brahmana. They cannot simply put the thread and go around and tell people. That's another things of Kali Yuga. The Brahmanas are known just by simply wearing the thread. They don't know anything else. Okay, it's quite common. Okay, especially when you look at in India, right? The sons of Brahmanas becoming doctor. The sons of Brahmana, what they call, all planning to migrate to other country and work like a Shudra under militia. So these are the things which is quite common. All right, they don't want them to struggle in the temple. They give them good education and send them to overseas. Right? When my wife went to US, right, around this is happened 13 years ago. Okay, she was so shocked to see a person born in a very typical Tamil family from Coimbatore. So it's a relative to my wife's friend. So they went and visited them in US, sent by the Ministry of Health. When they went there, the guy who looked so pious, and she saw some kind of thread there, and she asked, do you take beef? Do you like steak? And my wife got a shock of her life. Steak? No, I don't eat beef. Ah, all right. So, and the boy's mother, the old lady, she said, oh, no. We are Saturday, Sundays, every Friday, Saturday, we are very pure vegetarian. But other days, they whack beef. Can you imagine? That is how degraded, right? So it says here, they are not known as, they are known among the Sudras or once born. The once born man, unfit to chant the Vedic hymns. Right? When the person is not initiated, they are not unfit. And therefore, there is no practical unity of chanting the original hymns. And to save them all, what happened? Now, this is the thing, another interesting thing. And to save them all, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu propounded the Sankirtan movement. To save them all. Okay? Lord Mahaprabhu came and propounded Sankirtan movement. Just by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, you have chanted the entire Vedic hymns. And Yagna, for all practical purpose, and the people of the present age and the people of present age are strongly recommended to follow this sure and recognized path. Hare Krishna. Do you have any questions? Any comment? Are you all okay? This text 34 is very enlightening, right? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Was it good? So very
Yes,
text 34 is really fantastic. The translation. Right? So any questions? Any comment?
Thank you so much, Prabhu. This is my first class, and I'm really grateful, and I feel very fortunate for having your class. And I'm attending this class, Gita class from Bhagavatam class, I mean, from US, and I'm attending like after doing the Nirjala Ekadasi fasting, and this is my first class, and this is my first Bhagavatam class, and I feel very fortunate. And
very nice.
my
Fortunate.
I pay my respectful obeisances to all of you, and I'm so grateful, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Where are you from, Karthik?
I'm from Hyderabad, Prabhu.
Hyderabad.
I was born and brought up in Hyderabad, and I've come to US for my masters, and this is my second year after masters, and I'm looking for job. But now that the market is
No,
very
are you currently in US or in India?
yeah, I'm currently in US, Prabhu.
Yes. Okay. So now it's 8:31 AM there.
Yeah, 8:31 p.m.
Okay.
EST.
Because 12. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Malaysia and US 12 hours different.
Yeah, Prabhu.
Very nice, very nice. I'm so happy. Do you know, Karthik? It
Yes,
takes
Prabhu.
8.4 million lifetime to do what you're doing today. It shows that you are the most fortunate person. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, out of millions of people, millions of birth and death, one who are fortunate, they take a form of a human being. And out
Yes.
of millions of people who are born as a human, one rarely knows me as God. And out of millions who knows me as God, one rarely surrenders to me. And out of millions of people who surrender to me, one rarely. So that means to see Krishna, to experience Krishna is something very rare. That's the first thing. Second thing, in total, we have 8.4 million species of life. And out of those, there are 400,000 human species. And for you to be here, to listen to this class, it is something that you have got that fortune after 8.4 million lifetime.
Yes,
The
Prabhu.
one who have invited you, the one who have spoke to you, now you're practicing. I think if you're fasting Nirjala Ekadasi means you are a regular devotee. So it shows that you are very fortunate. And of course, it's my great fortune to associate with you. Thank you so much.
No, Prabhu. I'm actually, I should be telling you, like, I'm really grateful and fortunate actually. And this is my first Bhagavatam class, Prabhu. And the way you are, explaining every text and the way you are highlighting, I think it's very beautiful, Prabhu. And you are highlighting every single word and you are explaining it. And I feel very grateful. And I think we need to have someone like you.
No,
Thank you.
actually, I'm not qualified to give Bhagavatam class, so I'm just repeating what Prabhupada said. I'm
Yeah,
just putting
Prabhu.
the marks,
Thank you.
explaining that Prabhupada
Yeah.
says. So you can also watch this in YouTube. I think later, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, they will upload to the YouTube. You are in the group, right? In our WhatsApp group?
Yeah, Prabhu.
Okay, great. Okay,
Thank
so which temple are you connected to any ISKCON temple in US?
I used to go to the Kansas Vedic school temple, and now that I've moved to Atlanta, which is a remote town in Atlanta, so I'm planning on going to temple, but I'm just chanting for now every day, like 16 rounds, reading Bhagavad Gita, and yeah.
Is it very far for you from your place to Atlanta temple?
It's like 2 hours, Prabhu. 2 hours
Wow,
Yeah.
that far.
Yeah.
Alachua, is it Alachua near to you? Atlanta, Alachua, no.
Not sure, Prabhu.
Oh, that's
I'm living
Florida.
Florida. Yeah, that is Florida. Yeah.
Florida.
Okay.
Maybe I can connect you to my mentor, my beloved mentor, the person that really inspires me a lot. Is Grace.
Yeah.
What do you call? What is his name? Yeah, what is his name? My God. Pran Govinda Prabhu, Pran Govinda Das. He's a Bengali, and but he have migrated to US. He's
Yes.
based in Alachua, and he's a sannyas candidate.
Wow.
So if you have my number, of course, if you were there, you see my admin, so you just can send me a WhatsApp. I will forward your number to you, to Pran Govinda Prabhu, and also Pran Govinda Prabhu number to you.
Yes.
So you can get connected because he's doing fantastic online classes, which suits Americans.
Yeah.
Right? So you can join that classes. They have so much. You know what? They have classes daily. Every day morning they have that Japa session group. Even you can join them. Maybe at 6 a.m. 6 a.m. they're doing all of them sit in front of the computer and chant 16 rounds.
Yeah.
And after that they have Bhagavatam classes, everything. They're doing it very nicely to connect
Yeah.
to all the people who are in a remote place in US.
Yes, I would be
so
really.
Sorry?
I'd be really glad. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure. No problem. You just WhatsApp me, just say, hi, I'm Karthik here. So I'll save your number, then I will send your number to him and his number to you. And you can get connected to him. And you will love him, I'm telling you. He's such a scholar, such a great scholar.
Yeah, bro. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bro. I'd be.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
So, okay. So, Vaishnava Kripa Prabhu, thank you. Rajina Devi Mataji, oh, very nice to see you. Arsi Mataji, nice to see you. Karpiya Saraswati Mataji, Saras Mataji, our great excited devotee from Kolakangsa, Itigash. Thank you so much. All right, with that, we end the session now. All right, so next week we will continue our discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 12, Text 35. All right. It says Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, being invited to the sacrifice of Maharaj Yudhishthira, saw to it that they were performed by qualified twice-born Brahmanas. After that, for the pleasure of the relatives, the Lord remained a few months. Okay, so it's going to be very interesting discussion. And next week is going to be the last verse of this chapter 13. So chapter 12. And the following week, we're going to start, or maybe if next week we can finish this fast, we can straight jump to chapter 13, text 1, Dhritarashtra quits home. Okay, Dhritarashtra quits home. That means he's leaving the house after being chastised by his brother Vidura. It's going to be very interesting topic. And till then, see you next week. Vancha kalpatarubhescha kripa sindhu bevacha paditanam pavanebhyo vaishnavyo namo namah. Hare Krishna. Good night.
Hare
and
Krishna.
happy
Thank you very much,
All
Prabhu.
verses
Thank you very
Bhagavad
much,
Gita.
Prabhu. Thank you.
Krishna Prabhu.